The average person reacts to 47 emotional triggers daily, each one hijacking their mental state. But what if I told you there's a psychological backdoor that lets you bypass these reactions entirely? Carl Jung called it emotional sovereignty. And when paired with Stoic discipline, it transforms you into someone who can face anything without losing their center. You've felt it before. Someone makes a casual comment about your work, and suddenly your entire day is ruined. A small change in plans triggers an avalanche of anxiety. We're constantly at the mercy of external events. But Jung discovered this isn't random. It's a symptom of what he called unconscious projection. Every reaction that seems excessive is actually your unconscious mind being triggered. That person who easily angers you. They're activating unresolved parts of yourself that you've buried deep. The situations that cause disproportionate anxiety, they're touching on fears you haven't yet confronted. Jung called this the shadow, the repository of everything we've denied about ourselves. It contains all the traits we refuse to acknowledge, our insecurities, our darker impulses, our unmet needs. The shadow isn't just dark qualities. It's anything we've disowned, including positive traits we're afraid to claim. Here's what makes this mechanism so powerful. What you don't recognize about yourself, you will react to in others. That criticism that feels like a knife to the heart? It's painful precisely because it touches on a fear you already secretly harbor. The person who inexplicably irritates you. They're displaying qualities you've banished from your conscious identity. This is why conventional advice to just stay positive or ignore negativity fails so spectacularly. You can't ignore what you don't even recognize is happening. And this unconscious dance controls your emotional responses until you learn to see it clearly. While Jung helps us understand why we react, Stoicism provides the practical framework for what to do about it. The ancient Stoics perfected a system that's remarkably aligned with Jung's discoveries, but with actionable techniques. At its core, Stoicism rests on a simple but revolutionary insight. The only thing you truly control is your judgment about events, not the events themselves. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control. When your boss criticizes your work, you don't control their opinion, but you do control how you interpret and respond to it. When plans change unexpectedly, you don't control the circumstances, but you do control the meaning you assign to that disruption. This mental shift isn't just philosophy, it's psychological judo. Instead of being pushed around by external forces, you become the interpreter of your own experience. Your power lies not in controlling the world, but in mastering your response to it. This is where Jung and Stoicism create a perfect alliance. Jung gives you the map to your inner terrain. Stoicism provides the tools to navigate it. Together, they form what psychologists now call psychological sovereignty. Here's how they work in tandem. First, Jung's approach helps you identify what truly belongs to you. Is this anger really about the present situation, or is it an old wound being reactivated? Is this anxiety proportionate to the current challenge, or is it tapping into deeper fears? Then, Stoicism offers the tactical response. Once you recognize the true source, you can apply the dichotomy of control. You separate what's yours to manage from what isn't. You focus your energy only where it creates actual change. Let me walk you through a practical integration exercise. Step 1. When you feel emotionally hijacked, pause. This creates the space Jung called conscious awareness. Simply ask, what's really happening inside me right now? Step 2. Identify the trigger and your reaction to it. Name the emotion precisely. I'm feeling rejected is more useful than I'm upset. Step 3. Apply the Stoic question, is the source of this disturbance within my control? If not, practice what the Stoics called the art of acquiescence, accepting what cannot be changed. Step 4. Redirect your energy toward what Jung called conscious response, rather than unconscious reaction. Choose your next action based on values, not impulse. This 4-step process combines Jung's shadow work with Stoic discipline. It doesn't just manage emotions, it transforms them into sources of self-knowledge. What once controlled you becomes information you can use. The result? You stop being a psychological pinball bounced around by every external event. Instead, you develop what Jung called individuation, a centered self that responds rather than reacts. Let's see how this works in real situations where most people lose their emotional balance. Scenario 1. Your colleague takes credit for your work during a meeting. The typical reaction? Immediate anger, confrontation, or silent resentment. But with the Jung Stoic approach, you recognize this triggers your fear of being unseen or undervalued, a shadow aspect. Then you apply the dichotomy of control. You can't control their behavior, but you can choose a response that serves your long-term interests. Scenario 2. You receive harsh feedback on a project you've poured yourself into. Most people either deflect blame or spiral into self-doubt. With psychological sovereignty, you separate the useful critique from the emotional charge it carries. You extract what's valuable without absorbing what's toxic. What's revolutionary is that this approach doesn't just change how you feel, it changes your outcomes. Research from Harvard Business School shows that emotional regulation correlates directly with career advancement, relationship stability, and overall life satisfaction. Your ability to maintain inner balance directly impacts your external results. The most powerful realization from Jung's work isn't just understanding why you react. It's discovering that these reactions reveal exactly what you need to integrate next. Each emotional trigger becomes a signpost pointing to your next area of growth. And the profound insight from Stoicism isn't merely accepting what you can't control. It's recognizing how much power this gives you over what truly matters. This relationship between your unconscious triggers and conscious responses extends beyond just situations. It applies powerfully to people as well. In fact, those individuals who seem to occupy your thoughts constantly, they're not just random fixations. They're messengers from your unconscious, revealing parts of yourself that need integration. If you've ever found yourself obsessing over someone, whether it's admiration or irritation, our video Carl Jung's Secret, Why Your Mind Obsesses Over Certain People, explores exactly how these projections work and the specific Stoic techniques to transform them into sources of self-knowledge. What person or situation has been living rent-free in your mind lately? Share in the comments, not just who they are, but what quality about them triggers your strongest reaction. That reaction is unconsciously speaking to you. The question isn't whether these triggers will appear in your life tomorrow, they will. The question is, will you recognize them as the messengers they truly are?